What's poppin', guys? Welcome back. So today we are going to basically discuss another trending topic that's been going on Twitter. In the Twitter verse, the Twitter sphere, or whatever you want to call it, right? We can call it X, right? That's what its new name is X. It was formerly named Twitter. I'm not used to calling it X. I'm sure a lot of you guys aren't either, but we'll just go with what it is as of right now. So this, as you guys can tell by the title of this video, even before you clicked it, you already know what we are going to discuss. So what has been trending on Twitter recently is Biden's tax plans, right? Biden's tax strategies, his plans, I guess for, re-election and things like that. So Biden basically is discussing a 44.6% capital gains tax proposal, basically. So with this capital gains tax, it's actually caused a frenzy on Twitter. Not just the 44.6% capital gains tax in general, but the other portion of it, which is the unrealized capital gains tax, or unrealized taxes that Biden wants to also, pretty much do as well. So, and we're going to basically in this video talk about the differences between the capital gains tax, and we'll talk about the unrealized gains tax and what that pretty much is. So you guys are all aware, right? And don't go by, we're going to really discuss this, and I want you all to really understand how just negative his tax strategy is, right? Taxing unrealized gains is actually insane, right? It's something that doesn't even really make sense, honestly. So we're going to talk about it, and when we start talking about who is this going to impact, and how this is going to be a detriment to society and to people, let's understand, and let's not say, because I don't have a net worth of whatever Biden is going after, that doesn't mean that it's not going to have downstream impact on your life. That's what we all have to understand. Just because something you think doesn't directly influence you or actually bothers you or something to that extent, that doesn't mean that it is not going to be a downstream impact that can trickle down to you or affect you in a certain way. And that's what I want everyone to understand. Because even when we talk about this 44.6% capital gains tax, right, Biden can say, this is only going to go into effect on high net worth individuals, high income individuals, people who make $400,000 to, millions of dollars or more, right? That is who is going to be levied against, right? And you're sitting there like with your $50K in student loans and $5K in your Roth IRA or something. And you're sitting there like, this is not going to affect me. Well, you're looking at that in a mindset of you'll never get to that level. Why would you not want to get to a level where you have $400,000 in net worth, right? In appreciation from stocks, from real estate or whatever, right? Why would you not want to get to that point? And when you do get to that point, do you want to have a 44.6% tax on your capital gains from your hard work, your investment, your ability to compromise and put money away into stocks, into real estate, into acquiring other levels of assets, whether that be art, whether that be Bitcoin or whatever? Do you want to basically be punished for your good deeds just because you think it may not impact you, right? I want all of us to shoot towards being high net worth individuals and not just stay in our own realm, And at the end of the day, when these taxes are levied against people who are high net worth individuals, what does that mean for them? Or if they have businesses, are they going to be looking to hire more people? Are they going to be looking to even start more businesses that can create more jobs for people? Or are they going to be looking to trim the fat? Trim the fat, stop hiring as many people, maybe even start leveraging robotics and AI, and stop, opening up more businesses, which would then cause you as an individual to not have any jobs, right? To not have any jobs that you can go to. The area where you live, where you stay, isn't going to have anything for people to have upward mobility, right? So there's a lot of things to take into account. And I don't want you to think, oh, this does not affect me because I'm not a high net worth individual. When you get there one day, it will affect you. And even if you don't get there, it's going to affect you. Most things that we think that are doing or against the rich or whatever really is something that has a large downstream impact for the rest of society. Okay? So I just want to make that clear in this open conversation here. So I'm reading this article from Cointelegraph. It's, and I just want to preface it by saying it is a little biased, right, to its hate towards Biden, okay? I have my own thoughts on Biden. I'll leave that there, okay? And it is a little biased. So I want to preface it by saying that because when I read it, it does have that undertone. You can tell by whatever you're reading. But I still agree with the message, and I also disagree with Biden's tax strategies. So apart from their biases, it doesn't matter to me, right? So let's start here, okay? So United States President Joe Biden proposed to increase the capital gains tax rate to 44.6% for certain people, the highest rate in U.S. history, which will likely be a nothing burger, supposedly, right? That's what people think is not going to affect them. For 99% of people, it's a big fat nothing because it's essentially just a proposal, right? But proposals have a way of becoming reality, right? So when you propose to someone, that's your proposal. That's a proposal. And guess what? It becomes a reality, right? You get married. The suggested tax rate, as well as the additional proposal to impose a 25% tax on unrealized gains, has garnered massive attention across social media despite information being public for more than a month. A 25% tax on unrealized gains is ridiculous. So this is what an unrealized gain is, right? For everybody who doesn't know. So when you invest into stocks, right? When you invest, yes, you're putting in your own money, but at the end of the day, it's all in the atmosphere, basically. So when you put money into equities and things like that, and let's say you put in 100 into, let's say, Amazon, and then your 100 goes from 100 to 200, right? So then you increased by $100 in unrealized gains, right? So that $100 that your initial investment increased by through the purchase of the Amazon stock for 100, that is unrealized gains. The reason is because you haven't sold the stock. Once you sell the stock, the $100 that you made on top of it becomes realized gains. And when you sell that stock, that's how you get capital gains tax. Because when you sell it, then they have to tax you on the capital that you have gained from your investment. And usually I think it's about maybe 10 to 20%, something like that. But Biden is trying to propose 44% on the capital gains after you have sold your stock. So let's say you have $100 and it went up to 200. So that $100 that it went up to is going to be taxed by 44%, almost half. So you're taking pretty much $50 and Biden is taking pretty much $50. That's insane. It's, that's ridiculous, and this is his proposal for high net worth individuals, whatever that means people who $400,000 of equity or whatever, maybe $1 million in real estate or whatever. But that to me is just, it is very interesting. So Let's continue. Because the goal of people in general, right, is to be able to retire. People who have $400,000 in equity or in stocks they're not necessarily high net, like they're not the rich they're not the rich, $400,000 in stocks is not the rich. It's not. To retire comfortably and to be having, passive incomes from your dividends or, from selling your stock or whatever. Generally speaking, they say you have to have $1.5 to $2 million in equities in order to retire at the age of like 60 or something like that, right? You also have to take into account if you have a paid off mortgage. You have to take into account how much you're trying to how much you're going to need per year to survive and see if the money you have can last you. So it's about $2 million. And that is a middle class person. $2 million by the time you're 60, that's not a rich type of thing. That's generally supposed to be everyone's goal. That's a middle class goal, right? And if his proposal is to tax people with $400,000 of equity, you're gonna get that tax. Like, come on. So let's just be honest. This is not something that is far reach. That is like a billion. Like, it's not people who are billionaires. It's going to be hardworking middle class people, and it's going to be some rich people as well. But it's not going to be as like you think, like the rich. Like, come on, no, that's not how it happens. So, and then in the unrealized gains, so like when it goes up to 100 and you haven't sold it, Biden wants to do a 25% tax on the $100 of unrealized gains before you even sold the stock. How is that even possible? You haven't even made the money and he wants to tax you 25% on something that you haven't sold. That doesn't even make sense. And that is a thing that has basically got Twitter in an uproar, and that's where the conversation started. And people are like, okay, if he's taxing unrealized gains, is he also are we also getting tax breaks from unrealized losses and things like that? And it's just a whole mess, man. It's just a whole mess. So let's continue to read. So together, the proposal would increase the top marginal rate on long-term capital gains and qualified dividends to 44.6%. So let's continue. The proposal essentially says they want to raise the long-term capital gains rate for people earning over $1 million a year to 44.6%, which is ridiculous. Really high income earners could potentially, if this budget proposal goes through, face a much higher long-term capital gains rate, tax rate. But for the most part, yeah. And that to me is, if you're making money off of your investments, etc., about them, I don't know if it's necessarily saying your whole, is it saying that your portfolio, when you sell it, if it's $1 million, that's when it's going to be taxed or whatever, that is to be discussed and to be seen later. If you sell your portfolio, and I guess maybe that would probably be more upper level, more in the rich than the middle class person. Because if the middle class people aren't going to sell their stock portfolio that of like $1 million within a year period or something like that. So I understand that, but still, it's still something that the taxing in America is getting out of control. Like, we're being taxed like in everything, bro. Like, we're paying so much money on interest and tax. That's why we never have any money for ourselves. Bro, seriously. Imagine having a cup and you're trying to fill that cup, but that cup got 1 million holes in it. That cup is never going to get full because the taxes we are getting is ridiculous. That's why when you start a business and your money's coming from a business, you can use a lot of that business cost to write off your taxes. you know what I'm saying, to help alleviate your taxes and things like that. So that's why it's recommended for you to have a business. So we're going to continue here. In this, again, in this article, it says the average income earner will not be affected by this. Biden's tax proposal are targeting high income earners of at least 400,000 or more on one end and 1 million or more on the other end. 400,000 or more is not that high of an income, bro. I'm gonna be honest. That's really not the highest level of. That's not that high. That's a middle class person. To be honest, is rich is good, but 400,000 or more on capital gains tax. That is not something that's really out of reach for people who are in their 60s and 70s. That's not like, middle class people. No. So let's continue to read. Is Biden coming for unrealized gains? Notably, let's continue to read here. Notably, Biden's federal budget proposal also includes a 25% tax on unrealized gains for the ultra high net worth individuals, whatever that means. And in April 25 post to X, there's basically a person named Jason Williams who described the 25% tax proposal as insane. So this is what he says. It is difficult to describe how insane the 25% tax on unrealized capital gains is. Not a one-time 25% hit, it's compounding, annually taking 25% of every dollar of potential increase before it can grow. Not an exaggeration to say it would single-handedly crush the economy, and he said that he will leave the United States if that happened. Okay? So that's true, because taxes are done every year, and it's not going to be a one-time 25% hit like he says. It's going to be annually, every single year. If this unrealized gains tax proposal comes through, if you meet whatever criteria Biden is saying, you're going to be potentially taxed 25% of something you haven't even sold. That is just ridiculous, And this thing, if it works, if this passes, it might trickle down to just me and you. We already don't got that much money like the other people do. If it starts trickling down to me and you, what are we really gonna have? what are we really gonna have? Pennies? Like pennies? So I'm telling you guys, man, let's not act like this can't affect us. Let's not act like, the middle class don't get affected by this stuff. Let's not act like this is not a possibility of going down and trickling down to us, This may seem like a positive thing, but we already see where all our taxes are going to. We're not seeing the immediate benefits from our taxes. So let's just continue to monitor this stuff and to understand that though it may not impact you now, there's always a possibility. Okay? So guys, thank you for watching this video, and I will see you all next time.